Pamela, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how you use quantum EFT and with whom?
Hi, Jenny. Thanks for having me. I have been working with quantum EFT for a while. I'm a graphic facilitator, and most of the work I do is with Indigenous communities and organizations here in Canada. And so I've incorporated, I'm certified in clinical EFT, and I've incorporated clinical EFT into the facilitation that I do with groups. Because we're often working on very difficult topics and very deep topics that are very emotional for everybody in the room. So I use tapping to support people to be able to process and release some of the emotions that come up, and so we can work through those. So it's a very different way of working with EFT than maybe most people use. Um, I do some personal, individual EFT work as well, and quantum EFT often comes up in those sessions.
Mm,
So it's been really interesting to see how people react to it. So I give them the option at the beginning of the sessions if they want to work with quantum EFT, because some people may not. And then I just let the session determine whether or not quantum EFT is the way to go.
mm,
And often it is. And there are different ways of getting there. And I'm often, it's interesting how people are often surprised by going there.
mm,
Because if you haven't worked that way before, I think a lot of people don't believe that they can go there. So
yeah.
going into past lives or ancestral lineages is not very familiar for a lot of people.
And it can
So
surprise people when it comes up because it comes up from the multidimensional DNA, from the somatics, and it can be quite surprising to their left brain where all of these emotions and feelings and visions are coming from. Yeah.
yeah, and they'll often come to a session with their own idea of where their issue comes from. So they're really surprised. I had one client, for example, who felt that they knew where the issue came from in this life, maybe
Mm,
even at birth, but were really surprised when they found out as we were going through the session that it went back to a past life. And I'm not sure they quite believed in it.
mm,
They were surprised at what they were saying. They weren't sure if they were making it up, but
mhm,
I don't think it really matters.
mm.
It was
There's
really powerful
emotion.
stuff.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
there's emotion attached to it, it's it's not up to us to question with our left brain, where does this come from? Is it true or not? It's what's coming up, what the body and the subconscious and the multidimensional DNA is bringing up, and there's emotional attached to it. So that's what we work with. And have you used, getting the soul contracts and agreements and the higher learning and lesson at a soul level with the Indigenous as well?
No, I don't go to that level of detail unless I'm doing one-on-one. But
Yes.
in one-on-one sessions, absolutely, you
Mm,
can go there and it's really interesting to
mm,
see where they go and how easy it is for them to go there.
mm,
So for some people, I find that when you use the protocol, they're not always able to go back to a past life. They've got to clear something in this life before
yes.
they can do that. And so it might happen within the session where we go back to something in their current life, and it's like a bridge to then
Mm.
be able to go back to a past life.
Yeah, to its origin, wherever it might be, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really touching to see how emotional they get at the higher lessons and learnings
Mm,
and how that has impacted them in this life and how it could impact them into the future. I think
mm,
that's what's really amazing is when you get to that point where there are true cognitive shifts in their thinking and their beliefs of what's possible.
mm,
And it can happen so quickly in quantum EFT.
mm. Yeah, and then being able to take that out into the future so that they can see that higher learning and lesson and that new belief being um, implicated and implemented in the future for them. Mm,
Yeah. And what I really love is when they come back to me, it could be weeks later, it could be months later, and talk about how successful they've been when before the session they were really stuck
Mm,
and they couldn't move forward with something that was really important to them. But I hear from them months later, and all of a sudden they were able to move forward and be really successful.
mm. Well, thank you for the work that you do with the Indigenous in Canada and in a group setting, and that you are now moving towards bringing it into individual sessions with them. So thanks for the work that you do with EFT and quantum EFT.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I love doing this work. I just feel it's so powerful, and clinical EFT is powerful. Quantum EFT is truly amazing.
Mm,
Literally a different dimension of thinking.
it is. Thanks, Pamela.
You're welcome.